Kia introduced us to the K4 for the 2025 model year, a brand new fastback style take on the compact sedan, which replaced the Kia Forte. And this top of the line GT line turbo gets its own engine, rear suspension, and styling details. Let's take a closer look. This is a 2025 Kia K4 GT line turbo. Looking at the front of the K4, it is definitely a sharp looking sedan and also looks a lot like its big brother, the Kia K5. The two definitely share a design philosophy. And this GT line turbo does have a couple of distinct features. The biggest, to be sure, is this unique LED projector style headlight you see right here, and it's also got a built-in fog light right there. It's also a very long piece, starts like almost halfway up the fender flare all the way to the grille right here. So it's a very long piece with this long reflector light right at top, and then vertically stacked projector beams right here, and then another beam across right here. We do also have some gloss black for the lower and upper grills, but then more of this like satin chrome element for this lower front spoiler lip right here, and for the upper grill right here, just above this front camera for the 360-degree views. Of course, there's some other sensors and things right here. I do really like this chunky, very three-dimensional front grille with vertical and horizontal slots running through it, and the horizontal slots themselves have patterns and kind of bulges out in the center. Some of it is blanked out here on the sides, but most of it is real grille, and that's true down low as well. Blanked out on either end, but openings right here, and then a big sensor right in front. We also have this nice gloss black element right here. This is all blanked out, but it's a nice styling element and really does accentuate the width of this car. And this piece does come all the way into the front fender and does incorporate into the base of the front fender right there. And the hood itself has this bend to it right around here and slopes down. So this is a much lower, more aggressive front end than you'd expect from a standard compact car. And then you also have a very wide hood with these creases on either side that kind of develop into the base of the window trim as you get to the profile of the car. And while all of that's well and good, I do really want to show you what's underneath it. Well, there you have it, your turbocharged 1.6 liter inline 4-cylinder engine, transversely mounted or side to side like that. You get 190 horsepower and 195 pound-feet of torque. The other four trims of K4 get a naturally aspirated 2-liter engine that makes 147 horsepower and 132 pound-feet of torque. In the modern world, this is a fairly old school thing to see right here. You get the battery hanging out right here close to the firewall, fuse box, air box, and your air intake right here. Though you can see that there's lots of plumbing going down to an intercooler and back to the turbo. So air flows in underneath here in the top part of the grill, goes back, gets the turbo, from there comes around, channels this way through a cooler, and then back up and into the intake. It's got a nice long path. The center line of the front axle is right around the middle of the battery here. So much of the engine is ahead of the front axle and then the transaxle as well. But we do get a little bit of engine behind the front axle center line. Also, there is kind of sort of a strut tower brace. The center of the shock tower is right here. Then we have this extra bracing to firm it up right around there. And then some thicker metal built into the frame itself to help stiffen the car between the two shock towers. So that's nice to see a little bit of extra bracing there. Also, from the passenger side, tucked away under here, there's your ABS pump down there. Also on this side is your belt to handle all the accessories. This is a compact sedan, so we do have the manual latch to hold up the hood right here. And finally, Nice and easy access on the passenger side. Your windshield washer fluid is right here. Looking at the K4 in profile, this gives you a very obvious sense of its fastback look right there. You can see the roof starts and basically never ends until you get to the end of the trunk. Even the trunk slopes down a little bit. This also gives you a much better view of this color, which is called Morning Haze. And I have to say, it's a pretty cool looking color. Also, there are some more details of the GT line that pop out when you look at the car in profile. First of all, this lower piece that starts in front on the side becomes the base of the fender flares right across to the rear fender flares, and then just keeps right on going to the back, all in gloss black. So definitely loud and proud visually. You also have gloss black side view mirror covers, but then this satin chrome element on the base of it. Then this satin chrome also makes up the base of the window trim, and it gets to this nice fat triangle at the end, but then the rest of it is gloss black once again. And then we have almost effectively a gloss black in the front half of the roof being glass. Also, here's a better look of that hood line becoming the base of the window trim right here, and also some clever character lines where the end of the headlights become a bit of a front fender flare here, and then that just kind of molds into the top of the door. You have this kind of character line that runs beneath here, and then we get a fairly pronounced rear fender flare back here with this character line that comes out here, and it does extend out wider. You can see it distinctively in the fuel door right here. Also, front door handles just lock the car, but rear door handles are back here baked into the C-pillar right there. That's an interesting detail. Couple that with the 18-inch wheels, and this really does look sporty and sharp. I think Kia designed this K4 really, really well. It's also bigger than the Forte used to be by a little bit. I will go ahead and put the dimensions up on the screen right now for you to see, and let you know that I have a lot more information in the description. You're looking at 18-inch alloy wheels, again in this nice sharp gloss black. We have a lot of interesting angles and just sharpness built into the wheel design. I think it looks really good. I like the twin spokes and I like the narrowness of it. It also does look like it's a little bit easier to clean, which is definitely helpful. And it does expose a healthy looking brake rotor right there. It is a single piston floating caliper, but no big deal. And yes, this is a very sharp, but ultimately compact car. So the wheels and tires in back are the same size as the ones in front. Looking at the K4 GT line from the rear, you can see this very steeply raked rear windshield. We do also have this nice subtly, just very subtly clever rear spoiler baked into it right there. Because this is a GT line, we have vertically stacked full LED rear taillights that do go effectively the full width of the rear end, only stopped by this gloss black piece right here, which also has a camera. And then more body color till we get to more gloss black for the lower bumper, and these a little over the top, in my opinion, kind of faux rear diffuser style look right there. But it is a styling element that is cohesive with the rest of the car, so it's not so bad. We also have a couple other reflectors and pieces down low, and we do have dual exhaust tips, but also they are tucked away and underneath the car here. So this is really pretty cool in a lot of ways. It's a single muffler, but then not ostentatious fake exhaust tips, but legit dual exhaust tips down pretty much underneath the car. I like that. I like that a lot. I'm really happy to see that. I know it's hard to see from this angle right here. Let me get another camera on it and show you that. While I'm down there, because this is a G-line, we have an independent rear suspension. Standard suspension on the K4 is a torsion beam suspension. Those are really space efficient, but they're solid rear axles. Not here. The GT line and the GT line Turbo get an independent multi-link rear axle. So that's what you can see down here. There's steel arms and all that kind of stuff. It's not super fancy aluminum pieces, but 4-wheel independent suspension is definitely a leg up on a torsion beam. I'll definitely take that any day. By the way, you do also get a reminder that it's a GT line right here, but it's nice and small and subtle. And I do also appreciate that Kia didn't go crazy with the K4 logo. It's also a tastefully sized, subtle thing right there. Matches the new Kia logo as well. And even though it is a fastback shape, it does have a trunk. Let me show you that. But also, this button right here. There you have it, a nice and simple 15 cubic feet of space. Pretty straightforward back here, nothing too elaborate to see. We do have a space saver real spare tire underneath this little floor right here, which is nice. And if you need more than 15 cubic feet of space, that is very easy to do. Pull a couple of levers, give a little bit of encouragement, and you have more than 15 cubic feet of space and room for you and a passenger. Kia also claims that we have a lot of space for the second row. Let's check that out. The inside of this K4, my test car, is black. Pretty darn dark in here, but we do have these nice little lighter color strips, kind of like beige strips around the perimeter of the seats, which does give a little bit of contrast, open things up a little bit, but we largely have a pretty straightforward, hard plastic interior. This is soft touch. This is a little nicer and smoother. We have these nice looking door handles, but it's pretty straightforward generally speaking. However, look at that. That's a promising amount of legroom. I am 5 feet 11 inches or 181 centimeters tall, and I do have several inches of knee room right there. I do also have just barely, but I do have headroom. Just barely. You can hear my hat scraping against the headliner. The seat bottoms are a little low, so thigh support is only so-so, but not bad. And all told, I do have less than a 90-degree bend in my knees. It also kind of like bows out here just a little bit, so I have decent elbow room, shoulder room, those types of things. I have USB Type-C ports right here. This is wider than average too, so I'm happy with space towards the center. And of course, I do also have an armrest with cup holders, so yeah, it's actually pretty comfortable back here. For a compact car that the EPA considers a mid-size car, you could fit 4 adults in here, no problem. All right, to the front. My test car does have the optional $2,200 technology package, and among the things offered in it are 2-position driver seat memory right there. Also included ventilated seats, which are the controls right here on the door. The heated seats come standard on the GT line and GT line Turbo. We do also have the usual controls on the door right here. A couple of controls to the left of the steering wheel, including traction control off and your electric parking brake. And we do have a power seat with lumbar control right there. Always appreciated. Because my test car is a GT line Turbo, the upholstery is called Syntex. It is a synthetic leather, and we've got decent upper bolstering here and even a little bit of lower bolstering. That's nice to see. We do also have aluminum sport pedals for our 8-speed automatic transmission and the footrest, and we do have manually adjusting tilt and telescope right here. The steering wheel itself is kind of flattened on the top and the bottom, so it's this nice oblong shape, almost TIE Fighter shape to me. It's got this nice Kia logo right here. Also several media controls on the right, cruise control options on the left. We do also have a drive mode button at the base of the steering wheel here, and it's a fairly fat rim, so easy to grip onto as well. And just behind the rim, we have paddle shifters, upshift on the right, downshift on the left. Push button is down here, kind of reminds me of Saab. And that turns on the turbocharged 1.6 liter engine and reveals our nearly 30 inches of screen in the K4. That starts with a 12.3 inch fully digital instrument cluster a 5-inch climate display, this guy in the center right here, and then another 12.3-inch center display. The digital instrument cluster is on the K4EX and higher trims. Otherwise, you get analog gauges on either side and then a 4-inch screen in the middle. But the 12.3-inch center display is standard equipment, and it includes wireless Apple CarPlay and wireless Android Auto. That is getting pretty common these days. You also see controls for our dual zone climate control system right here. That's also the EX and higher trims. Beneath that, we do have some more USB Type-C ports. We also have a 12-volt charge port right there and a wireless smartphone charger beneath all of that. This is exclusive to the GT Line and GT Line Turbo trims. There's that start-stop button again right there, right next to our old school standard looking Prindle right there. But the fact that it's an 8-speed automatic and not a CVT is very, very welcome. You see that we do have a couple of little buttons here, auto hold to hold it if you're on an incline, you know, so you don't sneak backwards. And then we also have parking sensors and our 360-degree view camera right there. And as you can see, it's got lots of options. And if I put it in reverse, it will automatically change to the rear view. Beneath that, we have a couple of cup holders, but really it's more than that. You can see that this is kind of spun out and it's got arrows right here. So I can put it away and you have this massive space. Really big cup holders can fit in here, and you even have extra space for, you know, the handles to the cup holders. But push a button and they become much smaller cup holders that will more securely hold smaller cups, but still pretty big even there. So that is a clever little feature. I like that a lot. Beneath that, we do have lower center console storage right there, and, you know, pretty straightforward, just some space. Looking up, you can see we have the privacy panel closed for our moonroof. This is standard on the GT Line Turbo, and it is very lovely. And if you give it a softer tap, that quickly opens just the privacy panel. Because this is a GT Line Turbo trim, we get standard acoustic glass for the front windshield. It is optional on the standard GT Line, unavailable otherwise. And because we have a fully digital instrument cluster, it is also, of course, adjustable. You can use this button right here, and that will allow you to adjust what you're looking at in the center. And if you're in trip and use this dial right here, you can rotate through different options here. The engineer and me appreciate seeing tire pressure, to be sure. This mode button right here plays with the center display. You see we have a lot of controls right here. And then this button you can actually adjust yourself. And finally, we do have voice assistant. Set the temperature to 70 degrees.
Setting the temperature to 70 degrees Fahrenheit.
Wow, very forcefully, I might add. Don't actually need it at 70. We do also have two screens here, and it slides around very easily, easy to use, easy to adjust. We also have some interesting things. In setup, you can see we have a lot of different options here. Display, the vehicle itself, all these different things right here. Easy to push back. Then we also have, wait, we have sports? Look at that, we have sports. I guess if you need that, you have that. And weather, how about that? All right, let's talk drive modes, and this won't take long because we have normal and sport drive modes, and we do not have an adjustable suspension or anything, so this is just gonna be steering wheel weight, powertrain adjustments, those types of things. Well, there you have it, the 2025 Kia K4 sedan. I think it looks really sharp on the outside, and I think they did some clever bits on the inside as well. Personally, I wouldn't want the black interior, but to each their own. This 30 inches of screen is well executed. They did a good job here, and I like that it's basically just one flat panel. And I think considering the amount of content you get in this car, it's a reasonable price. The base Kia K4 LX starts at $23,165. Going with the GT Line Turbo raises that price to $29,265, but don't forget, you get a new engine, transmission, and rear suspension with it, independent rear suspension. And because my test car did have the $2,200 technology package, it costs $31,465. The idea of what a compact car is really has just completely changed. This K4, the smallest sedan you can get from Kia, offers a lot of content, a lot of style, and drives really well as well. To see what I mean, check out my drive review. I'm Robin Warner. Thank you very much for watching.